Hello, everyone. Travis and Lori here from Global Roundtable Leadership, and we're so excited to be talking with you today. We're going to be doing a little bit of reflection on the current moment that we're in and the world is in with the coronavirus, with the challenges that people are facing all over the world. And we thought it might be nice to do a meditation together and then to have a quick discussion and think about ways that we can help one another and that we can help you. And we really appreciate you being on this recording with us. And Lori, it's so nice to see you as well.
Thank you, Travis. It is so great to be here with you. And hello, everyone. It is so great to be with you out there in the world and to feel your presence, even though the faces remain a mystery, but to feel the spirit and the connection with our larger world. And Travis, I just want to say I love how you are. I know how in service you are to people, and that you went right to like that this may serve, somebody else and others, and also ourselves. That starting with ourselves, but in a way that is connected to our families, to our teams, to our country, to the larger world, right? That again, that through thread of wholeness is so valuable right now, and so maybe right now we begin with ourselves, and anything else that you want to say to what I just named?
I love that. It's one of my favorite quotes that I reflect on a lot, about how first we change ourselves and then our family and our friends and our communities, and that rippling circle out is such a wonderful reminder. Thank you for bringing it back to that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's our principle, right? Our pillar of wholeness in our shared leadership work is that plumb line or through thread, is so important, again, so that we're not only thinking of others in a way that leaves ourselves out of the equation, and in a way leaves us powerless as we are in service to others, or has us more invisible, even to ourselves. And on the other hand, where it's not just about us, or even a small group of us, but again, are we able to hold, a harmonized connection to the importance of ourselves, the importance of our own family and our own teams that we work with, and organizations that we work in, places of work and groups that we work with, groups that we work for. That's the mission. And then our countries and our world together, the global citizens that we are. And so should we start with a meditation that to help serve the self, serve ourselves? And
I think that'd be great. I'm going to put it up on the screen if that's okay.
Yeah, let me just take a minute first to say just one thing, and that is that reason, so many reasons for mentioning the importance of starting with ourselves. I do want to mention that it's so important to have the capacity in ourselves, and then choose whatever the skills are that we most resonate with, but for self-nourishing and for self-nurturance, so that we ourselves, we remember that we always have the capacity to help ourselves shift from a traumatic feeling or an anxious feeling, or vision, or that fight or flight, back into a more nourished and nurturing state of being. And again, the capacity that we have for this, and the genius of our own bodies and our own systems, and that it does take a stronger mind and a stronger emotional body to connect to the genius of our physical bodies, and what we have the capacity for. So I just want to name that, and that for me, a favorite practice is a practice of metta. It's literally called metta practice, and it's the practice of loving kindness, and that in it again is this philosophy. It's almost like I also see the martial arts sometimes of like, you don't want to start with a black belt, right? Like you can't, if you go for practice, like we have to build up. We have to find our own humility to know kind of where we're new, or why it's important to start simply with ourselves, and then extend the metta out to others would be the next practice. But we're just going to keep it today to ourselves because that's the first practice. And so let's just stay with that practice. And if anyone starts to practice metta, I often will encourage them just to start with the self for even the first couple months, and then extend out once you've really gained in the insights of what extending loving kindness to ourselves and to yourself can do for you, and where we can be surprised and challenged even, and inspired by how to nourish ourselves and not move too quickly to nourishing others until we've got this down a little bit. And two resources that I just want to also name is Sharon Salzberg does a lot of, is very committed to meditation and the practice of loving kindness. And I also love the Metta Institute. And there is information online through the Metta Institute or through Sharon Salzberg's website on how to take this practice deeper if anybody's interested. Those are two resources I'd like to offer.
That's wonderful.
And so now the slide, and then we'll get into the body. But we'll put up the first. Just keep it there for a moment. And I just want to offer that we, feel our feet on the floor, and just start to connect with your physical body in any way that feels good to you. So whether it's becoming aware of how your hands are resting on your body, can you feel the earth beneath the flooring to ground with, how your spine is, soft and strong at the same time. We want to be both soft and strong and open. And again, this is a practice of self-awareness and about moving into the warmth of the heart, of our hearts. And so it becomes the first practice of doing our best to soften any scary feelings we may be having, or any nervous feelings we may be having, or even any upset we may be having with ourselves or with someone else, and just see if we can allow that to go to the background and to bring the warmth of gratitude and caring, our warm heart, more to the forefront. So attuning to this feeling of warmth of the heart and our open-heartedness. Just take a few breaths here in this way, just attuning to your own bodies, to your heart. And as we stay breathing, just use your imagination to connect to the warmth, the kindness, the generosity, even the silliness, which can so support our perspective when things get very serious or scary. Coming back to the warmth. And then as we continue to breathe in through the nose, and if you can, also breathe out through the nose. If that's too hard for you, breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And the first statement that you say to yourself is, "May I be happy." And you may find it's nice to say this out loud, or if you're in a meditation with a group, or you prefer just to speak inwardly, silently, just say inside to yourself, as you breathe in through the nose, may I be happy. And then breathe out. And breathe in, may I be happy. And breathe out that warmth. We'll do this for about another 20 seconds, 3 breaths or so, 2 breaths. May I be well. And breathing in the imbuement of wellness for yourself. Even beyond what your rational mind may understand, but the feeling of wellness. May I be free from suffering. And as you breathe in and say this to yourself, may I be free from suffering. Possibly even noticing where you soften a little bit, where you unclench in your body, where you release any chains of tension or mental struggle. Breathe out the imbuement, the warmth from your heart. May I be safe. And again, using the breath to feel the safety in your body, to stay in your body and feeling your own depth of capacity to keep yourself safe, no matter what is going on around you. Remembering your own softness and strength and openness to keep yourself safe from the inside out. May I be peaceful and at ease. And then we'll do one final round of may I be happy. We'll end the here. May I be happy. So a few breaths. And then when you feel ready, just open your eyes if you've had them closed. And Travis, I'm wondering, how did this feel for you? What was this like for you?
It was very special, very helpful, and I couldn't help but reflect on a lot of the articles I've been reading, the things I've been listening to about how people can help during all of this. And everything I'm reading says be safe yourself, take care of yourself, wash your hands, be mindful of yourself. And I kept reflecting on how key that is, that everyone is saying that, all the doctors, World Health Organization, everybody is focusing on the things that we each individually can do, first of all, to take care of ourselves. And that's the best way for us then to keep others safe. If we're mindful about all those elements that we have control over, that's the single greatest thing each of us can do to then help others and keep others safe. And I thought about how easy it is to forget that and to jump straight to trying to do something at a higher level, and to not be as mindful and not think about being peaceful or safe or healthy or happy ourselves. So I really appreciate what you're helping each of us remember, what you're helping me remember as we're going through a difficult time, and it can feel so out of control and so hard to imagine what's going to happen. I love that you're helping us come back to ourselves, and that is a gift that we give to others.
And I'm even struck by how you said to do something at a higher level, like that this is at a lower level. And I know, again, sometimes we can speak in such a linear language, and I know you didn't mean it that way, which is why I'm bringing this up, is that, and who knows, maybe the highest level is ourselves, but in a way that is connected, not disconnected. So again, it's not just all about ourselves in a way that negates the rest of life, the rest of the world, of the natural world, of our families, of our teams. But I think what, to me, you're also naming is that this is the ground floor, that this is the root. That, that's what I heard you say. That that this is the groundedness and the root of being, like willow and bamboo, right? And strong and yet flexible, and being able to bend with others and toward others and away from others, even like into our own, but into that health of ourselves in a way that can then offer that with good boundaries and good connection out to others, and up and down and all around. Yeah, I'm really struck by that. And then, was there anything else, before we say anything else, just about this process, was there anything else that inspired you or challenged you or surprised you, or do you feel you already named it?
Well, I guess it does. It just does feel the responsibility of mindfulness and thinking about our own practices feels heavy for me. It feels like a weight, like a good weight of responsibility. And I read an article by a doctor in Italy talking about how it's easy to be complacent. And the article was a little bit about younger people, that younger people aren't as high of a risk with the disease, and that they might think, oh, I'm going to be okay. And they don't realize that they might contract it, they might not take care of themselves, and then they might infect others over a 1 or 2 week period, not knowing they have it, and that they might be around people who are very susceptible to the disease. And that it just made me feel that weight again of responsibility, that by taking care of ourselves, we're taking care of others. Like, we're being mindful, and that is saving other people. And I thought the article was very poignant, and that doctor is in the middle of a very difficult place in a very difficult moment, making very hard decisions because of things that are happening, and they are trying to help encourage others to take care of themselves and take care of others by doing that. And so I really appreciate that you're helping us come back to that we can't forget about how important it is for us to take care of ourselves, be very mindful of that, and that is going to help so many other people that we can't even really necessarily wrap our minds around how much that can help.
Yeah. And Travis, I feel like you're helping us too. I so appreciate what you're naming. I know for yourself as a younger person, and what you're reading about, again, that I know on our team here at Global Roundtable Leadership, we oftentimes will make the Super 8, which is also called the Mobius strip, and it's also called the lemniscate, and that we see our individual, selves as not bifurcated. One end of the loop, maybe if we use that image as the individual self, and how that flows into the collective, and that all of that is the wholeness, that we're never bifurcated, that bifurcation only happens in our minds and through our judgment. But that you're naming that even as a younger person, that if anyone's only thinking of themselves, then they may go all over, not realizing that they could be a carrier and a person who spreads. And also that at any age, those that have had cancer, those that are diabetic, are some of the people that are most vulnerable. It's not only the very young and the very old they're finding with this, and so again, it's that I feel with what you just said, that you're returning us to wholeness in that. What is my responsibility to myself, and in that responsibility to myself, what is my responsibility within the collective, and with the collective, and the impact that my actions have on everyone and everything around me. And so thank you so much for naming that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. One other piece that rises for me is around how we hear oftentimes, and how I know I have said to us as a team that when I read books, I see how often we're talking about the nervous system. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, about how often we talk about the heart of an organization or a group, and the spirit, and how often we talk about the soul even, but that we don't hear a lot about the nervous system of a group. And I just want to name that in all that we've said today, about presence and about nourishing ourselves, and what is the nervous system of our group, of ourselves within the group. So like when we're making decisions about what to do within our families or with our teams on whether to keep, and our organizations on whether to stay open or how to stay open, and just how important it is to think through the lens of the nervous system and life force of the group and the organization, and how are we contributing to that life force and to the nervous system? Are we coming in a way of fight or flight? Are we coming in a way of judgment and narrowness and intensity? Are we coming in a way of depth of hospitality and caring and compassion and empathy for ourselves and for the whole group and for the situation? Again, this kind of thinking in a more whole way that supports us in the calming of our nervous system, of ourselves and of the whole group, of the collective and of the organization. So I just want to, before we close, I just want to name that also, that I want to invite people to think that way, to think through the lens of the collective nervous system, and what is our contribution through our own presence and speech and actions and energy to the nervous system of the group. And is it a healing effort we're making, or anxious, are we presences of anxiousness? And we can choose. We have choice.
I really appreciate you bringing that up. And it reminds me of another article I was reading talking about our organizations as living organisms, and how in a time of stress, it might be tempting for us to work harder than ever and not rest, not take care of ourselves as an organization, as a team, and to put in more hours and think we're going to work through this, we're going to work harder. And the person was really recommending that just like we take time to step back and rest, when you're sick, you don't work harder and do more and more to try to get better. You try to rest, you try to take time to heal and allow your body to heal. And that they were trying to make the connection of an organization or a team thinking the same way, that if you're not giving yourself time to rest and to heal, you might actually be making things worse. And it can be tempting to try to do that, but it might actually have an opposite effect to what you're hoping to achieve.
Oh, yes. And so even going from meeting to meeting in a day, or a different video call, or phone call, or, how are we pausing? How are we recentering ourselves? Are we going in with an intention of calmness and openness and caring and a warm heart imbuing our heart? Or are we going in, skipping above the surface, or anxious, or jumping around in a way that our presence is not grounding the spaces that we're a part of? And again, this is, even that practice can be huge for being in service to the groups that we're a part of, while we also tend to ourselves.
Well, Lori, thank you so much for taking the time for this conversation. I think it's going to be helpful for a lot of people, and I hope that others can share their comments with us and let us know other things they might like for us to reflect on or share, maybe practices that they would want us to share with others. I think there's a conversation that we can open up that could be very helpful, and I look forward to hearing what people have to share with us.
I love that. And anyone's best practices for the things we're talking about, or any other ways that people are sparked that we can share out. I just love that. And so, Travis, how would they get a hold of us, or how would they get in touch with us?
Sure. Well, I think the easiest way would be to comment right below this video, and we'll be able to see that and respond. And otherwise, if they'd like to go to our website, they can visit our website, which is down below, and they can find us there as well.
Perfect. That's great. And maybe we'll put an invitation in for our shared leadership circle too, that they can join. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Travis. As always.
Thank you.
A big spirit hug. And bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
Thank you so much, everyone. All our best to you. Take good care.